Welcome to the Hooked Pod. I'm Chunk.
And I'm the Chippy. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about four-wheel drive camping. And we've got a few ideas, especially from experience, on what you need to do with your vehicle. There is quite a few things to talk about. Preparation, let's start with that. We only have so much room in our four-wheel drives, and if you're not towing a trailer or a van or anything like that, we need to be very careful with our weight distribution. You know, not to take the kitchen sink with us. You can take a pop-up or a fold-out kitchen sink, but not the stainless steel type that you've got at home. No, we've got to make sure that we don't take everything with us because you can't fit it in and your GVM's not going to work.
No, not like me mate Kizza.
What happened with Kizza, mate? Kizza,
there's the saying, don't take the kitchen sink. You may as well tell Kiz not to take the shed. He brought this camper trailer one day and we were going camping the next weekend, and he had this single cab ute and had that loaded up, plus he had the camper loaded up, got up Parry's Beach and he got bogged to so bogged. And anyway, he's always got to take the whole shed, you know.
That's learning from experience, exactly what we're talking about today.
I don't know if he's learned, if he's listening.
And that's right. I mean, if you go in a group, you can share gear too. Every person doesn't have to have a recovery gear. Every person doesn't have to have the sink. Every person doesn't have to have a cooker.
No.
I mean, if you're going in three vehicles or something like that, you can certainly share the load.
Yes.
You got to have your own, insect repellent, little first aid gear, your
certain
own
things, yeah.
Your own shovel, things like that. But when it comes to all the gear you think you might need that you're probably never going to need, or you just need it in an emergency, if you're travelling with other people, you can certainly share the load there. And that helps with your weights as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we can only put so much gear in a four-wheel drive.
That's right.
Yeah, we've done some good trips in the last few years, you and I and our families, and we've certainly realised that, a lot of stuff does come back and you've never taken it out of where it was. So
no, and you only pull it out once and, you thought.
You need to hide that stuff because most of the time when you do go four-wheel drive camping, the stuff that you can access easily is the stuff you use. Anything you've got hidden away or something, you usually never pull it out because it's too much trouble.
Probably do agree with that.
So anything that you think that you might not need, put that where you can't reach it because that will be the stuff that stays there most of the trip.
Apart from your toolbox.
Yeah, well, you do need
Hopefully you don't need that, but...
Depends on what sort of tracks you're going over. Remember that track we went up to Mount Augustus, and it was the start of the Canning Stock route.
Yeah.
We went to, I think, Two Wells, and then we went across to Mount Augustus and that. We went on some pretty rough old tracks there, through some stations and that. And
we did read the map wrong, remember?
Did we?
Yeah.
Glad I wasn't navigating. I was driving, I think.
I think that was my old man.
Yeah. Well, we tried to go on some less used roads, which we did do, and it was great. But the rattles with your four-wheel drives, your trailers, you actually do need to carry some stuff with you. It's, I think multi-tools are really good because if you got one of them in your pocket or, just in your console, you can rip that out, tighten nuts, cut things.
Oh, yeah.
And, a roll of electrical tape or something.
Yep.
Or your favourite. Come on, what's one of your favourite things you got in your toolbox, mate?
Cable ties.
Cable ties will just about get you out of anything.
Cable ties, duct tape.
Yep. Just don't wrap cable ties around your exhaust. They probably won't last long.
No,
it's
probably not.
But most other things, cable ties are pretty good.
Unless you got some stainless ones.
Yeah, right. There you go. They called hose clamps.
There's stainless cable ties.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I haven't got any of them in my toolkit. I haven't had to use a stainless one yet either, I don't think. But make sure when you're doing your preparation for your four-wheel drive camping, you go lightweight. And when you go buying things too, there's a lot of good stuff on the market these days that is lightweight.
Yeah.
I think those expandable buckets and that you can get now that push down into themselves, even for the dog water,
Yeah, they're great.
They're great. They just slide into your drawers in the back and they don't take up much room. And you can also fit other things inside them too, If you want to put the bar of soap in it and a couple of cloths, it all fits in the bucket, all folded up.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing you say there about the bar of soap, versus the old pump bottle.
Yes.
You know, simple things like that make such a big difference. You're talking about something about the size of the palm of your hand
Yeah,
versus
well, half the palm of your hand, that's right. Always make sure you got your safety gear on board, first aid kit, you know, and shovel and a bit of paper. You never know what you might need that for. Insect repellent's another big thing. Preparing your vehicle, you know, obviously have it serviced and everything like that. Make sure you share as much gear as you can. And if you go, especially if you're going with other people as well.
Yeah.
Have a good night, have a beer, talk about it. Make sure, you know, you got families, you got to take lots of gear. So make sure you sit down and get the preparation right, and it makes life a lot easier when you're out on the road.
It does. I like to take lots of stuff and not leave anything at home, but times have changed with wife and young one, and you know you got to fit everyone's stuff in.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, that trip we did at the start of COVID, when we went up north, we were supposed to go east. We ended up staying in WA. I mean, that was a good example of sharing the load because we had 3 vehicles, 2 camper trailers, the son had a guitar. Everyone brought something small for themselves, and it didn't even take up much room because there was like 9 of us in 3 different vehicles and trailers, and it didn't seem like that we had a lot of gear.
No.
But because we were able to share it all between us, we had plenty of room, really.
We did a lot of with the meals. We did a lot of frozen meals. The girls did.
Yeah.
They did these big packs.
That's right. Before we went away,
big packs and laid them out flat and frozen flat, you know, and so that made a big difference with the.
And we had a big dedicated freezer so that we could store all that in it, and then just had the fridges for our daily stuff.
Yeah.
Put those packs in the morning into the fridges to help thaw them out during the day. Yeah, that was a really good example of sharing the load and sharing everything you need. If you're going on your own, just make sure that leave the things behind that you didn't use the trip before on the trip before that, and you think one day I might need it. If it's not safety gear or first aid and that, leave it at home because you don't need a lot of things that we think we do.
No, simple. That's half the fun of going camping, you know, just enjoying the simple life.
Navigation's another big thing, and that's also got to do with your preparation. Make sure you know where you're going. Always, like I said earlier, you know, have a map on board. There's lots of great apps these days for camping, for weather. If you're going to the beach, 4-wheel driving, camping, make sure that, you know the weather on the beach. That's pretty important when you're on the beach.
Yeah.
UHF, fantastic for group travelling.
They are.
4-wheel driving, even if you're out of range a bit, you can usually still get, you know, if you're over a hill, you can still get reception and that. If you're not too far away.
No, it's just good to keep in touch with everyone. And
sometimes, you know, someone will head off on a fork in the road. And, hey, hang on, where did that vehicle go? Disappeared. And most of the time you can get them on the UHF. That's happened a couple of times to us. People have just disappeared off the track and you go, rightio, what's going on here? They're finding their own way to where we're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
And the other thing is map out your trip before you leave too. Like I said, have a few beers when you're doing your prep it, you know, all together if you're going in a group and work out where you're going to go. And people have other ideas about how to get to places as well. You know, they might have already been there and you haven't been there before. Have a good chit-chat about it and work out the best way to get there and what you need to get there.
Yeah.
You know, vehicles have got all different things on them these days, traction controls and...
Oh, yeah, they do, don't they?
Some people have got lockers and you've got to turn off your traction control when you're going 4-wheel driving. And if you got lockers and someone else doesn't have lockers and you're heading out to a place where you think you might need them, you got to think of the people going with you as well.
Yeah, a good tip with the, you know, if you don't have the lockers, you can always just, you need that little bit of extra traction while you're going through a bit of sloppy crap. You just keep your foot on the accelerator and tap the brake almost, you know, and it just almost stalls your car to a certain extent, and then everything just ramps up as soon as you take it off and you just get 4 wheels of full traction for this short little sharp burst.
Mate, that sounds like a real good hack, that one. I didn't know about that one.
Didn't you?
No. I'm a lot older than you, and that's something I've never done.
Oh.
But I'm not the smartest 4-wheel driver. I've always had a son or something that's with me, or back in the day I had older brothers, 4 of them, that used to handle the driving, and I'd just sit in there and do the fishing. So I wasn't a great 4-wheel driver. Well, I didn't have a lot of experience when I was younger. I Probably do a lot more of it now than then.
Yeah, right.
But that's a good one.
It's good, yeah.
That obviously works.
In mud and sloppy crap, yeah. It's a real good one.
That's good.
Just you don't have to like spin your wheels to the max. Just keep the engine revving and just keep bumping that brake, and it's just.
So if your car can't do what other cars can do,
that'll
help you get out of trouble.
I've never had a car with lockers,
Yeah.
The missus has got one, but she, it's good, It just gives you that little burst of power,
And that brings us on to our next little category here is knowing your vehicle. I mean, the capabilities, of your vehicle when you are heading out camping, four-wheel driving, you need to make sure that you know exactly what your vehicle can do.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a new vehicle and you're not quite sure, take it on short trips. Just do some, day trips.
Yeah.
Work out what the capabilities, your strengths, weaknesses of your vehicle are. Before you load it up, you don't have to have everything on your vehicle, but if you've got a winch and things like this, you can help other people as well.
Yeah, I agree, about knowing your vehicle. I don't believe there's any two cars the same, even if they are the same make,
Yeah.
Because every car's set up differently, one car's got a different set of tyres to this and a different set of rims, and they might have a roof rack or they might have a bull bar versus no bull bar. Like all your weight distribution plays a massive part.
Yeah, having the experience of driving the car for a while makes a big difference. Yeah, and if you've done short trips and then you go on bigger trips, you got some idea of how it's going to perform.
Yeah, my old D-Max, if the canopy wasn't on it, because the canopy is quite, it's quite heavy. It's probably 150 kilos, and it just turns it, as soon as it goes on, it turns it into such a better four-wheel drive, just by having
the weight,
more weight over those back axles.
Yeah.
Like you say, knowing your vehicle and testing it out in a lot of scenarios. And
fuel range is another thing.
Yep.
That is a major thing when you're going off-road and going into, Australia's a big place. Western Australia's a massive place. It's not as if you go, hundreds of kilometres from nowhere, but when you're going like on a 2 or 3 day trip and you haven't got fuel and you're going to do a lot of Ks, and four-wheel driving does take up a lot of fuel when you're going, through beach, through sand dunes, going out that more labour-intensive sort of driving when you're really loaded up. Know exactly what your car can do in the way of kilometres. And I mean, modern cars have got all that on the dash these days.
Yeah, they're a bit different, aren't they?
Yeah. You've got it written right in front of you how many, litres per 100 and how many Ks you got left in your tank. Just be wary that, you don't want to get it down to the, just in case for an emergency or something, you don't want to have, 50 Ks left and you find yourself that, you've got to do 150 there and back or something.
Yeah, you always used to allow 20 litres to the 100, and...
Yeah, well, that's a good rule. A great rule, because once you load up, if your car, usually does 10 or 11 or 12, allowing that amount is a great rule.
You got to remember you are going on softer terrain or boggier terrain with the weight. You're in full drive, so you've got more tyres that the engine's pushing and more gears and all that's going through. So it all adds up, very quickly. And don't be conservative and, try to skimp out. Throw a jerry can in. Yeah,
well, that's another good idea too. And a lot of, if you're towing a trailer or a camper trailer, a lot of them have got spots for jerry cans and things like that. Yep, and just make sure that if you're going to go and do a lot of night driving or something like that, make sure you've got good lights. And,
absolutely.
Having really good tyres on board. I've always run mud terrains. Not that I do a lot of off-road or muddy conditions. I just like the wear and tear of mud terrains.
Yeah.
I just like having them because, I can get out of just about anything with them because they're quite aggressive. And our next point that we've written down here is all the gear for the purpose of what you're going on, what sort of trip you're doing. If you're going surfing, make sure you can fit all your surf gear in. If you're going fishing or if you're going, bird watching, and you need cameras and certain things that you need for the purpose of your trip. You got to remember. Do you know what I always forget when I go beach fishing?
What?
The PVC pipes that stick in the sand.
I've got them.
And then you got to lean it up against your four-wheel drive and then it falls over.
I got my black bucket with my PVC pipe in it.
If you can't get your car close enough to the beach, you got to...
And my bread knife.
You don't know what to do with your rod when you're trying to put another bait or another lure on it.
Love me bread knife.
What do you do with the bread knife, mate? Cut the bread?
Not quite.
Is that to cut the fish?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Straight up through the gills.
So have you got that in a special spot all ready to go when you go fishing?
In the black bucket with the PVC pipes.
There you go. That's what I should have. Used to have it prepared like that back in the day, but these days I got to rely on you. I think when I go fishing, but and it doesn't matter where you go, what you do. You know, you've obviously got your stuff organised in the corner of the garage or in the man cave or whatever, and don't forget the important things that you're actually going on the trip for.
The fishing gear.
Yeah,
because there's no fishing. No tackle shop out on the beach.
The last trip we did up to Mount Augustus, Carragini, you know, we went through Kookanie, Meekatharra and places like that. I was right into my photography, and the one thing I wanted to do was make sure I could get my batteries charged. You know, I've got the Engel battery box in my car with a solar on the roof, and that keeps that charged all the time, and I was able to have all my I don't have drones or anything like that, but I just like having my camera all charged up, and my the Osmo adventure camera, that's a ripper that I like using too. And I mean, the batteries don't last that long, so you got to make sure the purpose that you're going on the trip for, make sure you can do everything that you want in it, and also know where you're going, the weather that you're in. Always make sure you got your clothes. I think one of your down south here in WA is Yuggies, mate. You like Yuggies?
Yep.
Yep, always got them camping.
Yeah.
Around the fire.
Yep.
Is that so the insects don't climb up on you? Does the wool stop them from climbing up on you or anything at night around the fire?
Just so you can get your feet closer to the fire.
Just so does wool burn? I think.
I don't know.
I'm sure it does, but as long as you're not too close. But Uggies are a great thing, and, you know.
They're a good thing.
Obviously, with the weather and everything down here, we've got to be a bit careful. We're well rugged up when we're heading out, especially in the weather when we can have fires outdoor, is usually the cold weather.
Yeah.
Sort of from May through to October. So you're going to sit out around the fire, you got to have some warm clothes.
Mm.
We're going four-wheel driving. We're going camping, not clamping.
No. Not
glamping. So we've got to make sure we take all those necessities that keep you nice and warm, and, you know, insect repellents, things like that.
That's it.
Yeah, one of the biggest things these days, especially on four-wheel drives, when you go on four-wheel drive camping, if you're doing solo camping, you need a lot more things on your vehicle than, you know, taking a camper trailer or something. And that's what I've been doing lately. And one of the biggest, you know, innovations to camping is solar. It is so easy now to be able to charge batteries using, you know, Anderson plugs, things like this for fridges, for having lights around the camp. People are right into now, their cooking is not gas.
Yep, induction.
Induction cooking.
Yep.
So set yourself up well. There's lots of things on the market. Great batteries that are lithium. I've had 2 great lithium batteries now for probably 5 years, and they've not let me down once. You just got to be able to charge them. And I've had 300 watts on my roof for a long time, and it's the best thing I've ever had. Never have any trouble running, you know, an Engel fridge which draws, you know, 4 amp hours, I suppose, off a 100 amp hour battery. The 300 watts on the roof keeps it solid all the time. So accessories on your car and on your camper trailers these days, and creature comforts, you know, when we head out.
It's an endless list, isn't it? So you can set a camp up pretty bloody good, you know, with your awning and some simple lights running off your car, make it look all fancy, and it's you can turn into good fun with not much expense behind it, to be honest.
That's right. You just got to remember that, you know, weights on your cards are a big thing.
Yeah.
We don't get in too much trouble over here in the west, but over in the east coast,
a bit more strict, aren't they?
They are, but, you know, we want to make sure that our vehicles stay within their GVMs.
Yeah.
And because you don't want accidents
and
insurance problems. Make sure you only buy the things that you really need, and take the things that you need when you do go camping. And four-wheel drive camping is so much fun. I mean, we've been doing it for years, and we've got trips on the horizon that we're going to make sure that we do.
Yeah.
And either coastal or inland. We've got a lot more inland to look forward to because we do a lot of coastal. Short trips, but long trips, you need to take more gear. And like I said, if you can spread it out between vehicles, because it's more fun going with a crowd, I reckon.
It is.
You can have some great campfires and things, and people have got some great ideas that you don't know about yourself. And when you sit around and people come up with some great things, especially in the old camp oven, mate.
Yeah.
As long as there's no sand in it.
No sand. You don't want to go putting sand in with your
spaghetti,
I think it was.
That was a good Mount Augustus one, that one, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Another son-in-law. What are we going to do with them?
Not me.
But,
He got out of cooking for the 3 weeks there.
Yeah, there was only 10 of us eating that pot, wasn't it? So I think we all got a mouthful of sand each. That was not much fun.
Oh, and he proceeded to...
But it was a very funny night because of that.
Yeah. We all had about 3 mouthfuls, and then Adam bloody proceeded to eat the whole bowl to prove that it had no sand in it.
There's probably a few ants in it too, I reckon. He didn't wash it out too well from the night before.
No.
And it was a very sandy place, Mount Augustus, wasn't it? Red dirt.
Yeah, real grainy, wasn't it?
Oh.
Real grainy sand.
Yeah. That's a great place. People who don't know much about Mount Augustus, it's a big rock. They reckon it's bigger than Ayers Rock or
Australia's biggest rock.
Yeah, it's a massive rock, and it's great to camp at the base. You're pretty much at the base.
Yeah.
And the sunsets and that over it at night are great. There's great walking tracks. It's out in the middle of nowhere, inland from Carnarvon, I think. Between Carnarvon and Meekatharra. A great country.
That drive up to Tom Price, that was
wicked through those stations, wasn't it?
Oh, that was such a great drive. I don't think we got over 50 kilometres at all.
No, I think I had a few brake problems with my camper there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Had to rip the brake off because it was getting a bit hot.
Yeah, we did. Your dream trip, Chip? Where have you not gone that you really desperately want to go?
If you remember back in the day before COVID, we went up north in WA. Mr. McGowan told us when we got to, where was it? Kalgoorlie on our first day, 800 Ks from Albany. We had the 3 vehicles, 2 trailers. We were ready to go across the Great Central Road.
We were going to do all that.
We were going to go and do the, what's it called? The bash?
We're going to do the Big Red Bash.
Big Red Bash, which I was looking forward to for so long.
Yeah.
It's the reason I brought my car and my trailer back in the day.
Yeah.
And we had it all set to go. We woke up in Kalgoorlie. I think it was like 0 degrees. Yeah, it
was cold, wasn't it?
Would have been the end. It was the school holiday, so it must have been whenever the school holidays are in the middle of the year, 4th or 5th of July or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to have about 4 or 5 days to get across there. We woke up in Cal, went down the main street for a coffee. All the girls were that excited, and the 9 of us, we went in and got a coffee. We're all standing around the car listening to the ABC. And Mr. McGowan was on there saying, we're closing the borders. And I think my 3 daughters were all in tears.
Yeah, they weren't excited.
We'd booked Ayers Rock, the wine tour. Yeah. None of them had been to Ayers Rock before.
No.
I think they were going to do camel tracking. We'd booked accommodation on stations all the way across there.
We'd booked at Palubi Beach on the way home because we were going to come around the south.
Yeah, we were at Kings Canyon. We were going to go in there after Uluru. We had such a great 3-week trip organised.
Yeah.
So that was my dream trip, which we still haven't done because I had the tickets for 3 years during COVID. I had to pay 10% each year to keep them. I had the 9 tickets, still could not go. And they were like, what, $580 each or something?
Yeah.
And so I decided I can that. But that is still a dream of mine.
Yeah.
They haven't had it this year. They still have the Monday. It's the Monday, I think, over near Broken Hill in New South Wales. So I could still do that one.
Yeah.
But one of the trips that I do want to do, and I'd like to do it with you guys, in our four-wheel drives is the canning stock route.
Yep.
Done a lot of research. We've been to the start of it, the first couple of wells.
Yep.
But I would really like to be able to, because we're on the Walloona Road going to Meekatharra, so we come across those. But we haven't really done it. And that's one trip I'd love to do, and I definitely will do it.
Yes, absolutely. I'll do that one
So
too.
I think that's my dream now after not being able to get to the Big Red Bash, but also the Simpson Desert, because I know you'd like to get over there, and that is, another great trip that I'd like on my bucket list.
Yeah.
What about yours, mate?
Israelite Bay.
Oh, yep, in the west.
Yep. I'd love to go down there. And
So what's that, like 5 hours east of Esperance, something like that?
oh, I think it's like,
In the Bight.
yeah,
It's under Balladonia.
it is under Balladonia.
Anyone knows the air highway?
You are it's 70 k's of full driving from the highway to the beach, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And then to get right up to the east side of the beach is 120 kilometres on the beach.
Yep. You're heading out to those sand hills.
Yeah. You'd almost be at the edge of those cliffs,
And
wouldn't
then
you?
Twilight Beach after that, I think. And then you're right under the Bight, yeah.
Yeah, meant to be some pretty good fishing up that way at certain times of the year. And
Good camping spots.
yeah, just be a real good adventure, that one,
Yeah, when you leave Esperance, you go, I think, through Cape Arid National Park.
Yeah.
And then you end up at Israelite Bay.
And you would be in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, yeah, and that's a trip you got to be very well prepared for, because there's not much out there at all.
No.
Western Australia has some unbelievable places to go camping, and if you haven't been out there and you've got the vehicle and you might have the trailer and you're a bit hesitant about heading out, don't be hesitant about heading out. There's plenty of people out there travelling around, and you can get help all over the place. Just make sure the preparation's right for where you want to go. Get your navigation all sorted out, with your maps, and make sure you map it all out where you're heading. Know your vehicle. Make sure you put all your gear on for the purpose that you're going out there for, and enjoy your camping. We love four-wheel drive camping, and we hope you do too.
Yeah.
Be safe and have a great time. We'll catch you on the next pod. Thanks, Chunk.
Thanks, Chippy.
All right. See you soon.